on this station.
We are Lions International, the world's largest service organization. We are volunteers committed to strengthening our communities and supporting those in need, one act of kindness at a time. For more than a century, Lions have been serving a world in need, right here in our community and around the world. Lions International makes the impossible possible. This is your invitation to join us, because the only thing missing from our mission to make a difference is you. Visit lionsclubs.org to find a local Lions Club near you.
Live from Upper Lafayette, this is ESPN 1037 KLWB Carencro Lafayette, KLCJ-FM Oak Grove Lake Charles 1041, a Delta Media station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Houston Astros return to play tonight at home for the Lone Star Series with the Texas Rangers. The Rangers currently lead the Astros in the AL West by 1 game heading into tonight's matchup. On the mound, it'll be Nathan Eovaldi for Texas taking on Hunter Brown for Houston. First pitch is at 7:15 tonight, and you can listen to it right here on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles. Around the AL West tonight, the Milwaukee Brewers will visit the Los Angeles Angels at 8:30. The Detroit Tigers will be in Sacramento to face the A's at 8:40. And in the nightcap, the Seattle Mariners will host the Minnesota Twins at 9:10 tonight. The New Orleans Saints and wide receiver Chris Olave have come to terms on a contract extension for the veteran wide receiver. The extension is for 4 years and worth $132 million with $90 million guaranteed to Olave. This new deal is the largest contract ever given to a receiver in Saints history, beating out Michael Thomas's contract in 2019 by $32 million, and it makes Olave the 6th highest paid receiver in the NFL. In the Rocket Classic, Peter Malnati finished atop the leaderboards yesterday at 9 under, followed by Ricky Fowler and Ryan Gerard tied for second at 7 under. Top 3 will all tee off today after 11 a.m. this morning for Day 2 of the Rocket Classic. The San Francisco 49ers are reuniting with former franchise star wide receiver Deebo Samuel on a 1-year, $7 million deal to bring the former second-rounder back to the Bay Area. I'm Blake Purser, and you're listening to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. Dawson Iserloh prides himself on taking a deep dive to uncover all the relevant data about the sports and sports teams he loves. And now he's sharing all those facts inside his big brain with all of you. Here is the LohDown with D-Loh on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
We welcome you into a special edition of the LohDown. It is a best of edition. I like putting these together from time to time. So what we're going to do is we've had all these great Media Day interviews, some of which I have picked out and will play for you again here on a Friday as we're pushing towards the football season. Hour number 1 will be the best of our Sunbelt Media Day trip to New Orleans from a few weeks back. Hour number 2 will be our best of SEC Media Day trip from last week in Tampa. So let's start it off with Sunbelt Media. First up, our conversation with the now head coach of the JMU Dukes, Billy Napier.
We have got with us the head coach of the James Madison Dukes, Billy Napier. Coach, thank you for being here.
Yeah, awesome to be here, man. Thanks for the opportunity.
Well, I was telling you before we got started, I was a student during your tenure at UL. I had my tickets ready to roll for the conference championship game at Coastal Carolina that never happened. So I have been obviously following your work for a long time. And I got to say, it's awesome to have you back in the Sun Belt. So welcome back.
Yeah, it's great to be back. Certainly, 8 years ago, I came to Sunbelt Media Day, and I was a first-year head coach, and certainly been a journey. But I'm a lot more prepared to do the job than maybe I was 8 years ago. I can tell you that.
That's one thing I wanted to ask you about. You know, your time at UL, your time at Florida. Despite the fact, the big picture is going to be the success at one and the failure at the other, but I'm sure there was a lot of mini successes and then some mini failures in the other. How have you combined the two jobs that you've done at the head coaching level to now taking that to James Madison?
Yeah, that's a great question. I do think, you think about college athletics, you think about how we build teams has changed, the roster management piece, the revenue sharing, the third party NIL. You have a little bit more of a business component in terms of the format, and how does that affect how you construct your process? How does that affect how you build culture? And that's the biggest learning curve. I mean, that's the big takeaway from Florida is that was part of the challenge there. Is the college football just got flipped upside down. And I think year one there we go from the team making $0 till a little under 20 the last year. So I think the big thing is that part of the job, how you build your staff, how you delegate, how you empower. And then this level, it's an annual process, one team at a time, 1 year at a time. And I think we took that approach in terms of how we put our organization together at JMU.
That is the thing. It's so interesting, and we've seen, even Coach Des, who of course worked with you, and they've still kind of gone against a lot of the new school things, right? They're developing high school players, they're keeping them around, they're retaining more of the roster, and maybe they're in more of a position to do it than some other teams. There's a lot of different ways to win now too. I mean, we've seen it at the higher levels, we've seen it across the board. How do you now kind of navigate? And I imagine it's case by case, like what's going to work for our university. How do you decide how you're going to try and build a winner?
Yeah, I think each one of these institutions in this league are different, So I've approached JMU a little bit that way. It's like, okay, hey, let's kind of erase the board a little bit here and let's evaluate today's calendar, today's marketplace, teams, rosters at this level, and what is the best way to go about getting the team ready to play. And a lot of conversation with group of 6 coaches, a lot of conversations with people that have been at JMU in the past, and we've taken that approach. We're also in year one, so that makes it different. And I think we'll adjust next year. We did the same at Louisiana. Every year you get a little bit more of a pulse for what it's going to take to chase down whoever's on the top. Now, this is a scenario where you're on the top. How do you keep it up there? But we also have an institution that has aspirations to keep moving, so they want to continue to get better and grow and expand. And we're getting ready to build an incredible facility and expand our stadium and our mid-campus district. So we have a very aggressive, forward-thinking administration, and that's a blessing for sure.
It's very unique, as you mentioned. Now, it's maybe not the amount of pressure. Florida has maybe just kind of comical levels of pressure about winning all the time. But you are going to a place, it's very rare when you take a job where they're coming off of one of the best accomplishments they've ever had.
Oh, yeah.
Usually
Sure.
places are hiring because something's not quite going right. So how do you deal with maybe that pressure of, this team was in the playoff last year. They won the conference championship. As you mentioned, there's not, there's maybe a little bit left to get to, but you're trying to keep that level that they were at as opposed to getting there.
No, I don't think there's any pressure. To me, it's a positive, right? We inherit momentum, we inherit confidence, we inherit positive energy. We have a brand. People are answering the phone. Not only helps you build a staff, but it helps you build a roster. And then, Florida, for example, is 18 years removed from a championship of any sort, right? So Louisiana was in a spot where it had been decades since they won a conference championship, right? So I think this is a different challenge, different set of problems. We have a huge volume of new players on our team. We have an entirely new organization. Those are the challenges. But history is the best indicator of the future. And for me, we have alignment. We have a commitment to winning from our administration. They help us solve problems, and there's consistent dialogue and a working relationship that I respect.
You talked at the podium about maybe the biggest difference right now in the conference since the last time you were here is roster retention, the idea that you're just having to replace. If you're really good, that means you might have to replace even more because some of those players are going to have other opportunities. How do you manage that, and how different is that from where it was at Florida, where there is some of that? You still might lose some of your better players, but you also maybe have a better chance to pay them what they're asking or whatever it is to keep them in place?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge you have is the P4 money. And, you're their backup money compared to your starter money. That's the dilemma. Sometimes you're going to have a guy who gets starter money, and you celebrate those, right? But sometimes it's like, hey, do you really want to go there? What's your role in the team going to be? So you're always juggling that part of it. But you also have to be equipped to go get the next guy, and you fight for retention, and then you assess your roster, and you have that January window to go attack the issues on your team. So I like it. No spring portal. I wouldn't have taken the job if there was a spring portal. So for me, I can start my process in January, and we can begin our process of building our team for that season. We don't have to worry about somebody pulling the parachute in May. And they got to go all in. It's healthy for our young people. They have to commit, and they have to go all in terms of this team this year. And then, hey, we get to December, we'll see where the cards are at, and then we'll reboot the computer next year and put together another team.
We'll close it with a question about UL, just because I have to. You seem like a guy who's very into taking a moment in, understanding the significance of where you are. At least that's how it's appeared to me. I know they're not on the schedule. We'll see. Championship game, maybe future season. What do you think it would be like to step back into that stadium as a visitor this time?
I've had a dialogue. Mike and I talk about it. I say, hey, we'll see you in December. I always say in Harrisonburg, and he says in Lafayette. So, look, Mike and those guys, 2 years ago, if the quarterback doesn't get hurt, they win it. So I'm really proud of him. And he's competing in a different environment than I did. We hit it just right there. The stars aligned for us to be successful. And Mike has a different challenge. But he's fielded very competitive teams. Heck, he had JMU on the ropes last year, right? So I'm proud of him. The quarterbacks, obviously the injuries there have affected his ability, the outcomes of the seasons. But 2 years ago, that team they had, he's done a great job. So I'm excited about a potential UL matchup in the championship game. And if I was drawing it up, I would be pulling for that. And, Mike was one of my – and really, all those guys, Tim, Troy, Mark Hockey's back there now. There's a lot of guys in that building that I have relationships with that I have a ton of respect for that really contributed to our success at Louisiana, and I'll forever be grateful for that. And, down the road, I'm going to hire some of those guys again too. So big thing is we got to go compete this year, try to win the East, try to win the conference championship, try to be the best G6 team in the country and get in the CFP. To do that, we got to focus on the work that we have to do today. And have a good next couple of weeks here and get some momentum headed into training camp. That's where the fun begins. So, no, it's a one game at a time, one season at a time. Just your typical coach speak stuff, but that's the stuff that works. And that's the way we've always done it. That's where we're going to continue to do it.
Coach, appreciate you doing this. Been looking forward to having this conversation with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station. Do you need more of the fellas here on Southwest Louisiana's sports station? Of course you do. So go make sure and subscribe to ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles YouTube channel at ESPN_SWLA. Don't forget to turn that bell on so you get notifications for new episodes of Four Tire Change Podcast, where Dawson Iserloh talks all things NASCAR, or Cleats and Sneaks with James Mesh. Get yourself more of Southwest Louisiana's sports station at ESPN_SWLA on YouTube. YouTube.
And now time for the Expert Minute, brought to you by Sugarland Exterminating.
Ever wonder why bugs seem to love your home as much as you do? One big reason: moisture. Roaches, termites, and ants are drawn to damp areas. Check under sinks, around windows, and in attics for leaks and excess moisture. A little home maintenance goes a long way in keeping pests out. Got unwanted guests? Call Sugarland Exterminating at 337-367-1414 or visit sugarlandexterminating.com for more information.
Sugarland Exterminating. Pest-free environment we're creating. Spiders, roaches, rats, and mice. Those awful termites are not so nice. Get rid of all your pests right now. Call Sugarland Exterminating.
Termites, they're here. They're invasive. They can destroy your home if left untreated. Sugarland Exterminating has been in business for over 50 years, and they have the experience to effectively treat termites. Call 367-1414 or visit sugarlandexterminating.com.
And that has been your Expert Minute, brought to you by Sugarland Exterminating.
Every weeknight, MeTV has your laugh therapy.
To chase away the blues or the yellow drabs.
With 2 hours of MASH at 5.
This guy's ankle has tickled my funny bone.
Followed by the Andy Griffith Show at 7.
Doggone it, Otis. You're supposed to be hugging me when I'm arresting you.
But he likes you, Bart.
Weeknights on MeTV.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
We are the soldiers of the Louisiana Army National Guard. We are your neighbors. We are your sons and daughters. While we serve part-time, we are learning valuable life and job skills. We are earning money for college, for trade and technical schools, and for certifications. We are proud to serve both our country and our home state. We are your Louisiana Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Do you know a veteran in need? Nation's Finest, through the VA's Supportive Services for Veteran Families program, helps veterans and their families struggling with rent, employment, and other housing-related costs. Today, Nation's Finest operates more than 30 locations in California, Arizona, and Nevada, helping thousands of veterans every year. Visit nationsfinest.org or call 1-833-468-9676. That's 1-833-468-9676.
The biggest headlines in the world of sports are discussed here. ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
This best of edition of the LohDown continues on. Of course, while we were in New Orleans for Sunbelt Media Days, we had to catch up with the coach of the Raging Cajuns, Michael Decimo. We also caught up with Lunch Winfield and George Jackson. Here's all three of them.
And we will get this thing started. Lunch, good to have you back. I know it's a long day, too, but how you making it out, man?
Good. Ripping and running this whole day.
Yeah.
It's been exciting, though, for sure.
What's this offseason been like, man? You know, getting the starting job, being the guy, that's got to be a different feeling. There's a different leadership. What's that been like for you?
Just being the guy that everybody expects me to be, filling the role, being a leader for my teammates, for my peers, and make sure we're ready and getting better.
What did you learn when you got thrown into the fire last year? You know, a lot of great performances, a lot of tough performances. What did you learn about yourself?
Tough guy, man. It takes a lot to break me, and I believe I'm unbreakable at this point, man. It's like just can't be stopped.
But at the same time, you know, you got to keep yourself healthy out there, right? So have you worked? Is there going to be a slide in the open field, or maybe you're just going to scoot out of bounds, or are you just going to keep running people over? What's that?
Definitely protecting my body, man. Taking less hits and letting just taking less hits.
All right. What about this offense that I imagine, you know, and I've seen it a little bit from afar. It seems like you've taken ownership of being a leader and being accountable for the other guys. What's that part of your game? How have you developed as a leader?
Really, it's just been in me, installed in me since I was little. Just always my peers always followed me and always showed them the right way to do things. And this is like the team, man. You just give them a good pathway to take and show them the leadership side of me, and people just always follow.
What's it been like to have people kind of hear your story a little bit? Obviously, I know it's a marketable name. You got a marketable story. I know you've had some, you know, companies reach out. That's been cool. What's that been like for you?
It's been pretty cool, man. It's pretty much what I expected to this point. Like, people get a hold of the name and they're like, I want this guy to be part of the brand, and do things with me. It's been real fun.
What has you excited about this season with this team?
Man, these guys. We went through the ringer last year, man. These the same guys, man, and to see the resilience and what we did when we was 2-6 with our backs against the walls. What would we do when it's 0-0 or 1-0? Like we know what it takes now. So I'm ready to see these guys go.
I'm ready to see you go as well, Lunch. Thank you for being here.
So appreciate
Best
you.
of luck. Stay healthy.
Thank you.
That's Lunch Winfield. He will pass the headset to Coach Des here, and we'll keep this thing rolling in one long final segment. As we'll give Coach a chance to get set up here and ready to roll. Coach, first off, thank you for being here. I know you guys are running around, getting back, and
absolutely
trying
yeah.
to get yourself caught up, but thanks for doing it.
For sure.
What has this has been an off season where, as far as the team is concerned, good amount of continuity. You did lose some key players, no doubt, but there's a feeling that you're able to build on it, right? At least that's what it seemed like from the outside. How have you guys been able to try and pick up on what last year ended like?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you come out of a year like last year, you got to learn from it. The slow start obviously is something that we need to get fixed. Dropped a couple games early and didn't play well early, which was our own doing. But what you can take from it, right, the urgency and the intent and the finish and the way that our guys, stayed together, stuck together, and really found a way to play winning football. Honestly, when we were missing a lot of key pieces, that's something that you got to build off of. So, we were able to keep a lot of the key components. I felt like there's a couple guys that we could not afford to lose that we were able to keep. Nature of college football and what it is, there's always a couple you lose every year that you'd like to not lose. For us, we're young in the offensive skill positions, but I think really talented. So got to play well around them while those guys grow up, and hopefully the faster they can mature and step into those roles, certainly that'll be better for us.
Lunch mentioned it, and you've said it before too, the idea that most of this team went through a lot last year and saw what the benefits can be like when you stick together at it. That's got to feel, and as he mentioned, now you feel like, hey, we're starting from zero. We don't have to start behind the eight ball this time around. What does that feel like, and do you think this team has maybe grasped how important that's going to be?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, everything that you want, everything you talk about, you're talking about, bowl eligibility, winning the West, winning the conference, playing the playoff, all that stuff. We've seen firsthand, what that looks like. We know how close we were to it. I mean, we were a game away, against Troy from playing in the conference championship. We go to James Madison, really whenever we were still very much in flux offensively and trying to figure this thing out, and, had chances to win that game on the road. They go on and they win the conference and play in the playoffs. So, we know what it looks like. We know how close we've been to it. I think this is a really confident group. This team is very similar to our 23 team. And, I sat here in media days and said, listen, we're really talented, but we're young. And if we can handle things with maturity and we can grow up, we got a chance to be a really good football team. Well, that was true. We didn't handle things very well, particularly success. We were 4-2, sitting in first place in the Western Division, had everything in front of us, and didn't play very well in the second half of the year. So we've got I think this team's a little different, and I think we have a lot more veteran leadership in different positions than we had that year. But I don't believe you hide from the past. I believe you embrace it and you try to learn from it. And what I've really been impressed with is the progress that I've seen with this team from January. Going into spring, felt like we had a chance to be a pretty good team. We had to figure out, how bad they really wanted, if they were willing to work and they were willing to be coached the way we needed to coach them to be successful. Coming out of spring, I felt like this team had a chance to be really good. Right now, where we are at the end of summer, I'm very pleased with the way they've handled the summer. So we're going into fall camp in a really good spot, which is what we needed to do. But the thing I keep telling them is, this still isn't even the beginning. We're still, this is the infancy of this team. We're creating the identity that we want right now, and that's going to continue to be created all the way through the season. So we've got to embrace the hard things. We got to kind of, I guess, love the challenges that are in front of us and, kind of embrace, who we are. Like I told them, I said, we don't have a bunch of guys on preseason all conference. We don't have any of those things. Embrace it, and embrace being the no names and embrace being those guys that are going to come out there and earn every bit of it. And so far, I'm really pleased with the way this team has responded to all that.
I know you don't play them in the regular season. Coach Napier already said he'd prefer the game if a championship were to happen to be up at JMU, and you've told him you'd rather it be in Lafayette.
Did.
But regardless, if he's going to be in the league a while, you'll run into him eventually. What has that been like to welcome him back into the conference? And I'm sure you're going to be seeing and talking to him a little bit more, given y'all's relationship and the extent of what he means and meant to you and you to him.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I found out that he got the job, I texted him and said, "See you in December," and the respect that I have for him is it's hard to put into words. I don't think there's anyone in college football that I respect more than him. He's a phenomenal coach, but he's a better person, and getting to work with him firsthand, seeing the way he treats players, and every decision he's ever made has been in the best interest of the players. He treats his staff really well. I just think the guy does things the right way, and I'm happy he's back in the league. I certainly hope, that would be kind of storybook, to get to play those guys in the championship and get to play them. But, at some point we'll get to play no matter what. And, I'm looking forward to that because there's no one that has done more for me in football than him. And I am always going to be grateful to him for everything he's done for me.
What's the aspect of this team that you're really excited about? What has you fired up about the season getting going in just a couple months?
I think the thing that I've enjoyed the most with this team is their excitement about everything that we do. It doesn't matter. Don't get me wrong, not every spring practice was the perfect practice the way you want it to be. But it wasn't because they went out there dragging and didn't want to be there. The excitement and everything you ask them to do. Right now, the summer practices, we get to go out there with them for a little while, the way our schedule's set up. And, they're fired up to do everything. The training sessions in the weight room. I think the excitement with this team is kind of what's been the most fun thing is, there's nothing that you ask them to do that they're hesitant on or that you're trying to pull teeth to get them to do it. Man, they just jump in and hit the ground running. And, when you have a group of people that work really hard, that want the same things, that are excited about each other's success, you have a chance to do something pretty special. And that's kind of what this team has been so far. I can't wait to get to fall camp and see how they handle that, because that's going to be the hardest thing we've done so far with this group. And, hopefully they handle the challenges like they have everything else. And, we come out of fall camp feeling really good about it. But it's a fun group to be around. It really is.
Well, Coach, look forward to being around them a little more. Best of luck, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Yes, sir.
We'll get George in here to close out the hour.
There we
George
go.
is willing to step in. There's Coach Michael Decimo. Appreciate him, and as we mentioned, now we'll get George to hop in here, and we'll close this thing out with just a couple minutes left on it. So, it's been one of those weeks where you feel like there's so much information coming at you, and excited to kind of keep things rolling. As we mentioned, it's only going to get faster from here. So we've got with us Cajuns offensive lineman George Jackson, back for another season. He's had the injury stuff in the past. He's getting himself healthy. He's ready to roll. So, George, thank you for being here. Long day. So this is kind of the finale for it. But, man, how good is it to be back and to be healthy and be ready for another season?
Man, it's a blessing to be back for another season, being healthy. It was a lot of hard things I had to go through mentally and everything, but, I had a great team around me, great staff around me, and, we made a plan and we executed, and we're here today.
This team, this program has now a reputation of putting offensive linemen in the NFL. What is it that you guys have instilled in you, and is it a technique thing? Is it what has allowed so many Cajun players to go on to success?
Yeah, man. Just, I've been around for a minute, so I was able to learn from a lot of guys. It's just always been a culture to be able to be a dominant offensive line. We always harp on 5 = 1 because you're only as good as the man next to you. And that's how we roll. Like, we want the whole entire unit to be good, and the one person is slacking, then the whole entire offensive line is slacking. So that's just all it is to it.
I imagine when there's a quarterback, a guy like Lunch, who puts it all on the line, there's never any doubts about his desire, his toughness. That energizes you guys up front, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what is it like to play in front of a guy? And then I imagine, too, y'all take it upon yourselves. You want to do your best to protect him because you know he's going to give everything he's got for y'all.
Yeah, man. When you have a guy like Lunch back there that he's going to sacrifice day in, day out of his body, man, it's just we want to be able to take as many hits off of him as possible. you know, we're going to protect him in the run and pass game. We know how he can get sometimes, but, you know, he's going to make plays with his arms and his legs at the same time, and we're going to do everything we can to protect him.
We know about a lot of Cajun running backs who have gone on to greatness as well. We don't know as much about this group, but y'all know a little bit about them. What has you excited about this group of running backs coming through?
Man, these young guys we got coming in, they're you know, they're bringing new energy to the team. You know, they come in, they work every day. You know, JJ, Steve Blanco, a few other guys. You know, we had a transfer from Howard. You know, all 4 of them guys, I feel like they're going to really help us in the run game. You know, we're going to open the holes up as an offensive line, as a unit. You know, we're going to do our part up front. You know, it's just up for them to hit it. And I feel like that's what they're going to do as well. They're physical, they're downhill, and their elusiveness.
I heard you say a little bit earlier, a little bit of unfinished business for you, right?
Yeah.
And kind of the way the last couple of years ended. What would it mean for you to kind of have that full season, stay healthy, and get this team where you want it to be?
Man, it would mean a lot, you know. I mean, at the end of the day, you want to go out with the championship. You know, what we do is harp on is winning game 1. You know, win game 6, then win the West, win the championship, get a chance to get into the college football playoffs. You know, each one of those steps leads to the next goal, and without that, you know, there's nothing else we're playing for. That's what we're playing for at the end of the day.
George, appreciate your time. Stay healthy. We'll see you throughout the season.
Definitely.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Our friends over at Small Sliders are doing it the right way, guys. You want to check them out. Ambassador Caffrey and Bertrand Drive, the 2 locations here in the area. Once again, one last thanks to everybody who came out for the eating championship, the anniversary bash. That was last Saturday. We had a ton of fun out there. A lot of great stuff coming ahead. It's just the beginning for Small Sliders of Lafayette. Steve, Jody, the whole team over there, they do a fantastic job, whether it's lunch or dinner. Slide through today. Tell them D-Loh sent you. It means a lot. That's Small Sliders of Lafayette.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up!
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys! Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Houston Astros return to play tonight at home for the Lone Star Series with the Texas Rangers. The Rangers currently lead the Astros in the AL West by 1 game heading into tonight's matchup. On the mound, it'll be Nathan Eovaldi for Texas taking on Hunter Brown for Houston. First pitch is at 7:15 tonight, and you can listen to it right here on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Around the AL West tonight, the Milwaukee Brewers will visit the Los Angeles Angels at 8:30. The Detroit Tigers will be in Sacramento to face the A's at 8:40. And in the nightcap, the Seattle Mariners will host the Minnesota Twins at 9:10 tonight. The New Orleans Saints and wide receiver Chris Olave have come to terms on a contract extension for the veteran wide receiver. The extension is for 4 years and worth $132 million with $90 million guaranteed to Olave. This new deal is the largest contract ever given to a receiver in Saints history, beating out Michael Thomas's contract in 2019 by $32 million, and it makes Olave the 6th highest paid receiver in the NFL. In the Rocket Classic, Peter Malnati finished atop the leaderboards yesterday at 9 under, followed by Ricky Fowler and Ryan Gerard tied for second at 7 under. The top 3 will all tee off today after 11 a.m. this morning for Day 2 of the Rocket Classic. The San Francisco 49ers are reuniting with former franchise star and wide receiver Deebo Samuel on a 1-year, $7 million deal to bring the former second-rounder back to the Bay Area. I'm Blake Purser, and you're listening to ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. Drew Brees set a new standard for quarterback play, and now the Saints legend will be immortalized in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. RP3, D-Loh, and Mesh will be there for this historic occasion with a special 3-hour live broadcast from Canton, Ohio. Tune in Friday, August 7th for the Gold Standard. Presented by Beal and Hebert, Acadiana's hometown lawyers. Right here on ESPN, 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
You thinking trailers? Think Tibbs. Whether you tug it, tow it, or transport it, Tibbs Trailers is your headquarters for enclosed, flatbed, and hydraulic trailers. You won't find a better selection or a better price than right here. We've got the experts to repair or customize your trailer so it'll be ready for whatever you pull it through. Why would you go anywhere else when you can go to Tibbs Trailers? Now we're talking trailers.
Between Scott and Doosan.
Looking for a spotless workplace? Variety Janitorial Services is your go-to. For office cleaning to stripping and floor waxing and carpet cleaning, your commercial space will look its best. Their reputation for perfection has grown throughout the entire Acadiana community. They deliver top-notch service with a commitment to excellence. Daily, weekly, or deep cleaning, trust the experts. Visit varietyjan.com today or call 337-298-8704 for a free quote. Variety Janitorial Services. We clean, you shine.
MeTV is America's #1 classic entertainment television network. And here's one of the reasons everybody loves MeTV.
Oh, it's a classic.
The great comedy lineup on weeknights.
This will be fun. Come on.
With MASH.
Loaded with snappy comebacks.
The Andy Griffith Show.
I was just funning with Barney.
And Everybody Loves Raymond.
Now we got a show.
Watch Meet TV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
We are the soldiers of the Louisiana Army National Guard. We are your neighbors. We are your sons and daughters. While we serve part-time, we are learning valuable life and job skills. We are earning money for college, for trade and technical schools, and for certifications. We are proud to serve both our country and our home state. We are your Louisiana Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
School sports are played by humans, coached by humans, and officiated by humans. So the next time you're sitting in the stands at a school athletic event, please remember this and maintain your humanity, especially when it comes to judging and critiquing athletes, coaches, and officials. Please show your fellow humans some respect. They'll appreciate your empathy.
This message presented by the LHSAA and the Louisiana High School Athletic Directors Association.
You're listening to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles. Your home for the best local sports talk in Southwest Louisiana.
Executive Director of the College Football Playoff, Rich Clark. First off, Rich, thank you for doing this.
Thank you, Dawson. It's great to be here with you.
It's the last time I talked with you, I don't know if you'll remember this, it's okay if you don't, but it was SEC Media Days a couple years back, the first year of the 12-team playoff. And I guess I'd say a lot's happened since then, especially with the College Football Playoff, like getting to see this and now talks of new formats, rule changes, a lot's going on.
Yeah, that's an understatement. A lot's happened because when we talked, it hadn't happened yet, so we didn't know. We didn't know how it was going to turn out, but it has been exciting and a lot of changes and developments, but we continue to move forward.
What have you all learned from watching it play out and getting the chance to see it in action? So much planning, so much effort to get it going. Now that you've gotten a chance to see it a couple times, what have you learned?
Well, we learned that it has a lot of elements that people really like and that people want more of, and that is a good thing for us, but it's also a challenge to make sure that we're finding the right balances and what that format looks like. But for me, the bottom line is it's just exciting. I mean, when the playoff actually starts, it just elevates college football. It takes what was already a great preseason and helps bring that to the next level. And I think that's what the commissioners were after, really enhancing the regular season of college football, crowning a champion in a true fashion where the decisions are made on the field, and that's a good thing.
There's been tweaks, obviously, in the seeding and then in the automatic qualifying purposes, and of course the conferences changing kind of necessitated some of that along the lines. How difficult has it been to not have a big sample size, right, and to try and have to make these changes on the fly when you haven't had 10 years to sit there and evaluate what's really working and what really isn't? And maybe sometimes a year might be an anomaly, and you have to be prepared for that ahead of time.
Yeah, we understood going into it that there were going to be some tweaks, I would call it. Fortunately, the kinds of changes that we've made so far haven't been massive changes. They've been just minor tweaks just to try to make it better. And it hasn't been difficult. I mean, I think the education part of it is probably key to make sure that people understand what's going into the playoff and what the format is going to look like. But so far, the changes have been minor. but they've made it better. I think we've gotten good impact out of those changes, especially like the seating change that you mentioned. I think that was a really good change for us, and it helped put the flow of the playoff into a normal flow, so that you play the bracket based on who the top teams were, so that the right teams got buys and that you had good competition in the first rounds as you progress through the bracket. So we're real happy with the changes we made, and we're always looking to get better every day. Every season, we're always trying to make it better for the fans, for the student athletes, for the conferences. So we'll keep on doing that.
I'm biased, of course, working a lot with the Sun Belt Conference, but I think it's awesome to get a chance to have these other schools with an opportunity. We saw Tulane and James Madison last year. I know a lot of people then have the other feeling about it. They don't think it's the same level, and they get upset when those teams are included. How do you balance that idea that, inclusion matters across the sport if we are playing in one division, but at the same time there's still this need to get some of the best teams in?
Well, I think people have to understand, though, that inclusion does make it better. It keeps fan bases engaged. It gives student athletes and coaches and institutions hope that they can actually achieve a playoff berth and hopefully win it. We believe that we'll continue with that inclusive mentality. And, sometimes people don't like it, but then when an upset happens or somebody does rise up and comes out of the lower ranks, maybe if you will, and climbs to the top, then people love it. So fans will express their desires, but it just depends on where they're sitting and what their team does when they get that playoff opportunity. So we want to keep it inclusive and make sure that every team has a shot at the beginning of the season, and they know that they have a shot.
We're talking with Rich Clark, Executive Director of the College Football Playoff. He joins us here on the Lowdown. We've seen a lot of conversation from some of these conferences, commissioners, and obviously there's this balance of what you guys think is best, what they want, maybe sometimes for their own league's interests. I think the ACC mentioned today they're in on 24. We've said the Big Ten's had their number. How do you balance all these different leagues that, of course, are going to operate in their own self-interest to an extent, with the idea that you have to do what's in general best for everybody collectively?
Well, we look at it as our opportunity to present the pros and the cons of every option that's out there. So, you've heard different format options. We have 12, which is working great, and it's really proven to be a successful format, but 16 could be a potential, 24 could be a potential, and it's really our job at the CFP to provide the commissioners with what are the pros and cons, the pluses and minuses of each of those, because there's always going to be some drawbacks to any format, and certainly some positive aspects of it. I think what the commissioners, not just the CFP, but the commissioners have to do is keep an eye on their conference. That's what they get paid to do. That is what their job is to make sure that their conference needs and interests are met. But they also have to have an eye on what's good for the greater good of college football. So we try to strike that balance in our conversations with them. We give them as much information as they need, because there's so many things that go into this. It's not as simple as the number of games that are played. It's about student health, student athlete health. How many games are we adding to the season? It's about revenue generation. It's about TV windows. It's about what weekends do we have to play these games? There's so many different things that go into this, and we have to make sure that we're presenting them with everything. No matter how small it might be, they have to be able to consider every element of a change so that they know. Because one thing we don't want to do is make a change and then regret it, and then go back and say, maybe what we were doing before was really the best. We want to make sure that we are able to look forward, give them as much information as they can, have the strong, positive, healthy discussions about our options, and then make a good decision.
Rich, thank you for doing this. Enjoyed it, and we'll talk again down the road. As I mentioned, that was Rich Clark. Now our conversation with Sun Belt Conference Commissioner Keith Gill.
Great. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
This is, I've been coming to this event for a few years now. And we talked each year, hey, what is a New Year's Six berth? What would it mean? What would a playoff berth mean? How do you get there? It happened. It happened last year. It took a lot. It was a lot of stuff. It wasn't necessarily, always a sure thing, but how much of a, just something to sit back and reflect on and think of a success, right? That was a big goal for you guys, and it happened last year.
Yeah, it was huge. And it's interesting. And I'm going to set the game aside and participating in CFP. One of the great things for us, where I thought it was a good bump, was all the lead up to selection. Those last 5-6 weeks of the season was all JMU Sunbelt. Kind of in that conversation. Then you go from selection, which then it blows up. From selection until the game, there was a lot of just conversation and just opportunity to talk about the Sun Belt and talk about JMU as well. And then you get to the game. So it was unbelievable. I thought the visibility for the conference was great. I thought the exposure for the quality of our football was great. And I thought, what it meant for JMU was also pretty tremendous.
And they keep it going. And of course, we're very familiar with Billy Napier. He's back in the conference. That I assume that might be a first for you, welcoming a coach back into the league. What's that been like so far?
It's been great. One, because I had such a great relationship with Coach Napier when he was at Louisiana, and he was one of the coaches that I would reach out to kind of get a feel for how his colleagues felt or ask him a question and those kind of things. So in some ways having him back is like getting a friend back. So I think it's great. And then obviously he's a really good coach. You think about the success that he had at Louisiana and just how he built that program to the opportunities that he'll have at JMU. So I'm really excited that he's back.
Baseball was fun again. You mentioned it in your address earlier today. Back-to-back years with a team in Omaha, different team each time, and Troy certainly one that kind of came out of nowhere at the end of the season. But I do think it's more so now than ever. I think people are, at least people who follow college baseball, they're well aware of what the Sun Belt is in this sport. And in theory as well, which we're going to get to in a bit, you're bringing in another program that's got a history of success. It's you thought maybe there'd be a plateau there. It feels like there hasn't been. There's still growth going on in baseball.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think, it's just awesome to watch the baseball. 2 years in a row in Omaha. Coastal 2 years ago was in the championship series, which was great. And then they hosted a regional last year. And then this year, Southern Miss hosts a regional. Troy hosts a super regional. Troy gets to Omaha. So our baseball is really on a great trajectory, and you think about, the quality of our team and the respect we have because, kind of going into our tournament, we probably had 2 locks and then everyone else was probably on the bubble, and you win a couple games in the Sun Belt tournament. Obviously, the Cajuns experienced that. And next thing you know, you're in the main draw and you're in the NCAA. So it was an awesome baseball year, getting 5 teams in, the most we've ever had. And then all the success that we had through the tournament was pretty tremendous.
I know it's been, it's maybe been up and down on the basketball side of things. You guys renewed the Sunbelt MAC Challenge. The MAC had an interesting year last year, of course, with a team that was undefeated most of the year, getting in the tournament. Why was it important for you guys to redo that deal and re-up the Sunbelt MAC Challenge, and what do you look forward to about it now?
Yeah, it's our best non-conference games, particularly at home, are the MAC Challenge, because, it's hard to get, obviously, autonomy schools to come play at home. It's hard to get home games generally. And so being a part of the MAC Challenge has been really helpful in terms of getting a home game and for our top schools, for our schools that might be fighting for NCAA seeding and those things to have like some quality games. So for that, it's been really helpful. And that's on the men's and the women's side. Statistically, the MAC has always been a little bit of a better conference than us from a basketball standpoint, but we have won the challenge. We won it last year on the men's side. I think it was tied on the women's side. We really held our own. So I think it's actually elevated our basketball a little bit as well. So it really has been, I think, a boon for, Sunbelt basketball, getting us home games, getting us quality basketball games. And I'm really glad that we have that partnership because it's been good for both conferences.
We're talking with Sunbelt Commissioner Keith Gill. He joins us here on the LohDown from Sunbelt Media Days. There have been tweaks with the playoff already. And, of course, one of the rule changes of this offseason will make it harder for the Sun Belt because they, have now kind of put that top 6 champions thing and tweaked it around a little bit. I know it's something you guys, you can't get everything you want every time you're in those meetings, but how do you judge and maybe pick what you need to fight for versus what you're willing to give up, given the idea that a path is still there?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I mean, you do have to pick your spots. The reality is for us, we want to have a real seat at the table, and we do. And when I first got here in the conference, we didn't really have a legitimate path to be in the CFP. The only school that was outside the Autonomy 5 that did it was Cincinnati, and they had to go like undefeated and beat, I think they beat Notre Dame and Indiana that year or something like that. So they beat two A5, or at the time A5, they beat two A5 schools and then went undefeated, and they got a 4 seed or something like that in the CFP. So having a legitimate opportunity is huge. I mean, it just allows us to build our programs the way that we want to build it in a really legitimate way. So, and I do think, picking our spots is really important, because I think a lot of these issues are delicate, whether it's, how you get funded, your access, all those kinds of things are things that certainly will put, some of my colleagues into a lather. And so trying to manage that is a really important part of our strategy. No question about it.
What do you make of I know you at least alluded to it in your speech today, but what do you make of all the different numbers that are being thrown around right there, whether it's 14, 16, 24, let's have a 64 team playoff? Like, what do you make of those proposals right now?
Yeah, for me, I always feel like the question just needs to be broader, because I don't know that it's about a number. It's about impact and those kind of things. And so, if I was just thinking a number, I would just be like, well, 72, because that's best for the Sun Belt, right? We could get more teams in that way. But the reality is, we've got to be careful, because any impacts are going to impact the regular season and the postseason. And the postseason is really important to us, because the bowls matter to us. I mean, we've averaged 10 teams in postseason over the last 4 years. And if CFP is the only thing that exists, then that number is going to drop to, 1.5 or some sort of number. So I just think that that's an important thing. And then the value of the CFP is important, because you got to remember, we're adding all these games on the back end. So in some ways, you're diluting the value of the CFP, and you just got to be careful, because you'll never make that up. So I do think, some detailed analysis is really important, really understanding those impacts before you just pick a number, because the reality for the Sun Belt, the higher the number, the better, if it's just about us. But it really isn't. It's about college football generally, the ecosystem, and trying to make sure that we have something that is sustainable. And so that's why I kind of take a more of a cautious approach. Just kind of say, all right, let me see what all the facts are before I say, hey, this is the number I think is best.
Commissioner, thank you for doing this. Appreciate your time as always.
Thank you
Enjoy
so
the
much.
season.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station. Did you miss what got Kevin Foote fired up this morning on Footnotes? Here's what Foote said.
Now, he introduced it, but I don't, this idea that, he knew how to utilize it. No, I don't, he never threw the ball to Batman enough, Casper, when he was here. That didn't happen until after Casper left.
Tune in weekday mornings from 9 to 11 for Footnotes here on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is the proud winner of 4 2026 LAB Prestige Awards, including Best Use of Digital Media, Foote's Friday Fury, Best Live On-Site Remote for our Super Bowl Radio Row coverage, Best Promotion for our No Shave November initiative, and Radio Young Professional of the Year for Dawson Iserloh. We're proud of being Southwest Louisiana's sports station and are humbled to be recognized by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters.
The heart of Acadiana is its local businesses, the people, families, and companies that help our communities thrive. Here's a message from a proud certified South Louisiana business.
Candyland Cottage is the place to satisfy all your cravings. Find delicious ice creams, fresh fudges, truffles, hot dogs, sausage po' boys, Frito pies, and homemade shakes. Visit us in Scott and Rain for a sweet treat. Plan your next birthday party or field trip at Candyland Cottage.
Shop local, support local. Certified South Louisiana.
Your Honor, I would like to introduce exhibit number 1.
MeTV is America's #1 classic television network.
There can only be one number 1, me.
MeTV features over 60 of the greatest classic TV series each week.
Go with the winner.
Enjoy dramas, comedies, westerns, sci-fi, and more.
You just watch me.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
MeTV is memorable entertainment television.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices. To learn more, visit GoVote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
If you owe the IRS or state $20,000 or more in back taxes, you need the tax resolution experts at Fortress Financial Services. We save businesses and individuals from being shut down by the IRS. Your local attorney or CPA cannot negotiate with the IRS like us. This is all we do. We'll defend you, protect you, and negotiate the best deal. Here's what other Fortress clients have said. Jim F. from Texas. I couldn't imagine Fortress would achieve what they did. You can't find more understanding, impressive people. I want to thank Fortress for saving my life. Ed P. from Utah. After trying reputable local attorneys, I got nowhere. That changed once I called Fortress. They got results almost immediately. If you owe $20,000 or more to the IRS or state, call Fortress Financial now for a free consultation.
800-851-4805. 800-851-4805. That's 800-851-4805.
You're listening to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles. Your home for the best local sports talk in Southwest Louisiana.
Oh, what a day. We're not even done with it yet, as we are wrapping up hour one of this special edition of the LohDown with the best of SBC Media Days and best of SEC Media Days. Dawson had a jam-packed first hour, and I'm not going to lie to you. It's been a long day. I tuned out a little bit. I know that was a great interview with Keith Gill, some of the guys from UL, Coach Desermo, lunch. I've been sick. I've been tuned out, so I can't give you the full recap of the hour. So that's on me. But, again, it's been a long day. But we're going to get you updated with our foodie poll question of the week. If you've listened today, you may have heard what it is, but it is, which is the better sandwich, a grilled cheese or a peanut butter and jelly? These are two staples. They scream Americana. You've definitely eaten both of these as a child. You probably eat them daily. I know I do, if we're counting Uncrustables, which are, like I said, in RP3 and Mesh. They're God's gift to Earth. I love an Uncrustable. But surprisingly, and I'm a peanut butter and jelly fan, surprisingly, the listeners, the fans, they're going with the grilled cheese. Because that's at 70% of the vote. Peanut butter and jelly is at 30%. It's been pretty much like that all day long. Which is shocking to me. Like, it's kind of bounced a little bit back, it'll drop right into the lower 60s, or excuse me, the high 60s, but it's pretty much been that ratio all day long. Before we wrap up the first hour and get ready for the second hour, which is best of SEC Media Days, I just have to say, guys, if you're putting ham and cheese, or you're putting ham, or you're putting turkey, or you're putting roast beef on it, it is no longer a grilled cheese. It's just a hot ham sandwich or a hot turkey sandwich. That's all I got to say. Hour number 2 coming up.
Did you know you can get great tasting Clear Springs artesian water delivered to your office or your doorstep at home? Clear Springs is 100% local with their own bottling facility at the world-famous Kentwood Aquifer, no chemicals added. Just pure Kentwood, Louisiana artesian water. Clear Springs Water offers delivery of 5 or 3 gallon water service with a hot and cold temperature water cooler or even single-serve bottles delivered to your home or office. Easy to reach, clearsprings.net, then contact us tab or 337-519-3563.
Where do you go when you're looking for action? Where do you go when you're looking for fun? New friends you're gonna meet, more fun than Bourbon Street. The Big Easy, where winning is easy. Life's too short, so jump on in, have all the fun you can. The Big Easy, where winning is easy.
Hand of the Day is the new way to win at the Big Easy Casino. Each Hand of the Day equals one entry into the Big Easy bonus cash drawings. Bonus cash drawings take place on the last day of each month. It's never been so easy to win. Just watch as you play and notify your hostess when you get the Hand of the Day. The Big Easy, where the winning is easy. Gambling problem? Call toll-free 1-877-770-STOP.
Life's too short, so jump on in. Have all the fun you can. The Big Easy, where winning is easy. Big Easy Casino across from Montreal.
Imagine a place where wellness, luxury, and community come together. Welcome to City Club at River Ranch, Acadiana's premier private club. Enjoy a state-of-the-art fitness center, exceptional tennis and pickleball programs, resort-style amenities, and a vibrant social atmosphere. Whether you're pursuing your fitness goals or expanding your social circle, City Club offers an unmatched member experience. Visit cityclubatriverranch.com today. City Club at River Ranch, where lifestyle meets distinction.
Live from Upper Lafayette, this is ESPN 1037 KLWB Karen Crow Lafayette, KLCJ-FM Oak Grove Lake Charles 1041, a Delta Media station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Houston Astros return to play tonight at home for the Lone Star Series with the Texas Rangers. The Rangers currently lead the Astros in the AL West by 1 game heading into tonight's matchup. On the mound, it'll be Nathan Eovaldi for Texas taking on Hunter Brown for Houston. First pitch is at 7:15 tonight, and you can listen to it right here on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles. Around the AL West tonight, the Milwaukee Brewers will visit the Los Angeles Angels at 8:30. The Detroit Tigers will be in Sacramento to face the A's at 8:40. And in the nightcap, the Seattle Mariners will host the Minnesota Twins at 9:10 tonight. The New Orleans Saints and wide receiver Chris Olave have come to terms on a contract extension for the veteran wide receiver. The extension is for 4 years and worth $132 million with $90 million guaranteed to Olave. This new deal is the largest contract ever given to a receiver in Saints history, beating out Michael Thomas's contract in 2019 by $32 million, and it makes Olave the 6th highest paid receiver in the NFL. In the Rocket Classic, Peter Malnati finished atop the leaderboards yesterday at 9 under, followed by Ricky Fowler and Ryan Gerard tied for second at 7 under. Top 3 will all tee off today after 11 a.m. this morning for Day 2 of the Rocket Classic. The San Francisco 49ers are reuniting with former franchise star wide receiver Deebo Samuel on a 1-year, $7 million deal to bring the former second-rounder back to the Bay Area. I'm Blake Purser, and you're listening to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. Dawson Iserloh prides himself on taking a deep dive to uncover all the relevant data about the sports and sports teams he loves. And now he's sharing all those facts inside his big brain with all of you. Here is the LohDown with D-Loh on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
It's hour number 2 of a special best of edition of the LohDown. If you're just tuning in, we are throwing it back. We had some great content at both Media Day events. So we were at Sunbelt Media Days first. We just did hour number 1, playing my favorite interviews from that week. Now we're on to SEC Media Days. Of course, so much content that came from Tampa. We've got 4 picked out for you. We're going to start it off with the commissioner of the league, Greg Sankey. Later on, we'll hear from J.D. Piquel, who's becoming a superstar with On3. And in the final segment of interviews, we'll package together our conversation with Ryan McGee of ESPN and T.J. Daugherty, LSU linebacker. All that coming up here in the second hour. Stay with us the whole way. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. We'll have a poll question update for you at the end of the hour. For now, our conversation with SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey.
The leader in charge of the SEC, the commissioner, Mr. Greg Sankey. First of all, Commissioner, thank you for being here.
Good to be here. Thanks for making the trip to Tampa.
Yesterday, you made your address that you do typically. There's, of course, always an interesting set of circumstances affecting the conference, affecting college athletics. And this year, some of those consist of, you guys going to a 9-game conference schedule. You've got some of the issues going on right now with conference expansion and or, playoff expansion, things of that nature. When you look at it as a whole this last year for the Southeastern Conference, what are the big pros, the big things that you're still working on? Where are you guys as a league right now?
As I look where we are, we're going through what I think is historic transformation around revenue sharing, name, image, and likeness. Those are hard issues. They create some difficult conversations and some new challenges. Yet through that, we've provided excellent support for young people who are student athletes. Our league won 13 national championships. We sponsor 22 total sports. And so we've continued to thrive competitively. We're working diligently through congressional conversations to see if we can have the restoration of a national framework for college athletics. I think you learn when you're in those conversations just how difficult the political and governmental processes can be. As I look ahead, I'm excited about the 9-game schedule. The level of equity embedded within the league from a competitive standpoint is enhanced by playing that 9th game. Moving away from divisions help that. It does create questions about college football playoff access, but I think when you look at the scheduling decision, it's the right step for the league. We have to work on the college football playoff format and its selection process to make sure that it is rewarding the kind of rigor that we build into our football schedule.
We can go right there with the playoff format. It's fascinating. I know there's a lot of talks about what the number's going to go to, and you've been on the record giving some of your thoughts on it. But how important do you think it is to really make sure they get this right as opposed to making the change early and then kind of going back, going, wait, do we have the right number? Because we've seen that in the past. What do you make of that part of it?
I was part of the growth from 4 to 12, and we took a couple of years and answered questions, dug deep into information. And when we started the discussion of moving from 4 to something bigger, the number that was consistently identified is 8. And if we had just accepted the rhetoric or the headlines or the social media commentary, we would have moved to 8. And I think the parameters around those 8 would have not been deemed to support a wise decision. I think it would have been tough with conference champions and the expectations that existed. So the work and the research that led to 12, I think has been supported that 12 was the right move. Almost immediately upon going to 12, we had 14 and 16 inserted, and then 24, 28. We don't have answers on some key questions, like how do we help young people manage through an extended postseason? Where do we place these games? When the games are played, how do we facilitate travel to and from, recovery and preparation for the team that wins to play the next game? What are the economics? Are there actual media entities that are fully interested, fully committed to supporting an expanded playoff with these new games? Those questions we answered in the 4 to 12 expansion. They have to be answered in the 12 to whatever it may be expansion. We don't have those. We're working from our own perspective. I think the college football playoff entity has to help us answer those, and some of the advocates for 24 have to go deeper in answering those questions for us so that we can justify whatever decision is made.
It is fascinating, too, and I know the Big Ten's had their own opinions on it, and you've seen some of those models where it's maybe a structured number of teams from each league that go in. I'm always hesitant on something like that, given that any given year you might have a year where there's maybe more than that or maybe a few less than that. What do you make? You already mentioned it. You need to make sure that the selection process, even now in the current format, is matching what it should be. What do you make of that potentially into the future if the number does get bigger?
I've been an advocate for no guaranteed spots, no AQs. I'd take an all at large. I would take the top 12 with no conference champion guaranteed, and I'd be happy to roll the dice to see if we get in there. I think that's the healthiest way to form a bracket. I've never been a fan of increasing the number of allocations. Because they're arbitrary. I've never seen any analytics that inform here's why somebody gets this many and somebody gets this many fewer. And the variance from year to year means you could give undeserving teams access over deserving teams that would be denied access. And we saw that last year with 2 teams in the 20s being given access to the 12-team playoff and some of our teams not being in. So I think my philosophy, and I've communicated this to our league, is solid, but that doesn't inform a number. I would take all at-larges, whatever the number is, and then we have to decide what that number is going to be.
When you look at where we are now with the NIL and, there's obviously a lot of challenges in court that have happened on maybe individual bases, but there's still maybe that desire, and you referenced it earlier, this something to kind of put some more guidelines and just make this more clear for everybody. I think we're all in agreement, or at least most people at this point, that players getting paid is a part of what this is, and it's a good thing. But it does still feel at times, kind of chaotic. What do you make of where we are as far as trying to make sure that at some point it's a little more streamlined for everybody?
It is chaotic, and it's chaotic for a number of reasons, all kind of converging at the same time. Transfer freedom, the introduction of the transfer portal, the removal of a one-time transfer exception, which then means people might move every semester if they chose to do so. You add the economic opportunities on top of that, and all of a sudden decision-making and judgments can be altered. You also have a number of advisors. We don't even know who they are, who are in young people's lives telling them, you should go do this, I can get you this deal here, I can get you that there. And at times, the pace, the lack of information, the overweighting of economics in a decision mean people are making bad decisions. What I would back up and observe is what I observed during my remarks, is that comes to me from student athletes, which is, hey, when I line up for kickoff, I just want to know the other team's playing under the same basic set of rules I'm playing by. My university may have different majors, that may be harder, maybe easier. I don't know how to evaluate that, but eligibility, years, age, whether they played pro ball before or not, depending on what sport we're talking about, the NIL oversight, the NIL reporting, revenue sharing, opportunities, just the basic standards. Let's make those consistent. And I think that's a fair ask. And I think doing that can settle down the chaos. But when you're seeking help from Congress, there are a lot of voices up there. And there are a lot of different interests. And obviously I'm painted that, hey, I'm just taking care of the SEC. I actually think what we've identified is good for all of college sports, regardless of the division that they occupy.
Commissioner Greg Sankey is our guest here, SEC Football Media Days. That is another interesting thing. I've heard you mention it before, and I've heard other commissioners maybe give their take on it, the idea of what's good for college athletics versus what's good for the SEC. Maybe they won't always line up exactly the same, but you kind of have to walk that balance. What do you make of some of the decisions that are being made that maybe would have a short-term, slightly negative impact on the league, but you think are good for the sport overall?
The college football playoff expansion is a good one. When we were at 4, our league was never the one seeking to go beyond 4. It worked for us. We were the only league still to always have a team, at least one team ranked in the top 4 every year. And over time, we never had a unanimous vote to go from 4 to 12. We eventually had a majority. Part of our reason for supporting is at the time you didn't have any West Coast participation. You wanted a national championship to be a true national championship. So, sure, I represent the Southeastern Conference. We're not looking for the easiest way for us necessarily, but in the 12-team playoff, thought that was a growth opportunity that was good for the game, and I think it has proven to be. Despite all the discussion about let's add more, I do think you look at 12 as a success and a well-informed decision. When you look at the Protect College Sports Act, some of the gaps, just requiring reporting transparency around NIL, whether you're in the SEC, the Sun Belt Conference, or the Southland Conference, I think that transparency is good for all. The ability to have state laws in the background, have national standards for eligibility, transfer policy, recruiting structures, and tampering. Again, if you're in the SEC, the Sun Belt, and the Southland, I think having those be consistent across state lines is healthy. So I guess people can paint, and in fact, I don't guess they do that. Well, this is just a self-interest piece. No, I think that's actually good for college sport to address the issues we've identified.
Commissioner Sankey, thank you for doing this.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, and we look forward to talking to you again down the road.
Back in my Southland days, I would go to a game at McNeese, and depending on the flight schedules, drive over to Lafayette, take the flight home to Dallas. So appreciate that you guys are here.
Absolutely. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Drew Brees rewrote the NFL record books as he helped lead the New Orleans Saints to a Super Bowl, and now he will have a gold jacket, a bronze bust revealed, and he'll go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. RP3, myself, and James Mesh will be there live in Canton, Ohio to witness it, and we've got a 3-hour live special live from the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's the gold standard presented by Beal and Abear, Acadiana's hometown lawyers. Tune in Friday, August 7th from noon to 3. It's right here on ESPN, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
From Tiger Stadium to the Texas state line, ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is your home for live and local sports talk in Southwest Louisiana. We're your official home for the LSU Tigers and Houston Astros. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles also tackles the latest involving the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, McNeese Cowboys, and New Orleans Saints. So keep it locked right here. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
The best businesses aren't just businesses, they're neighbors. Here's a message from a proud certified South Louisiana business.
Bro Bridge Truck Stop Casino. They have the newest games around. Hot seat drawings and monthly specials like no one else. Located on the Bro Bridge Highway and on the banks of the Vermilion River. Come out today and try your luck at the Bro Bridge Truck Stop Casino.
When you support local businesses, you strengthen the communities we call home. Shop local, support local, certified South Louisiana.
Ready to transform your backyard into the summer paradise you've always dreamed of? With Duplessis Builders custom gunite pool packages, we make it simple to own a stunning, long-lasting, in-ground pool built just for you. Choose from classic designs, all customizable to fit your space, style, and budget. Our pools come with quality finishes, energy-efficient equipment, beautiful lighting, and professional installation from excavation to decking so you can dive in before the next heat wave hits. Don't just dream it, build it. Visit DuplessisBuilders.net.
Oh, look who's here.
Everybody Loves Raymond is on MeTV.
Who told you that?
Raymond!
America's #1 classic TV network.
Nothing even comes close.
Enjoy 2 back-to-back episodes every weeknight.
We're doing it twice.
Watch Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah, it's all about you, Raymond.
Weeknights starting at 8 on MeTV.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices.
To learn more, visit govote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
Back to the sports talk you not only want, but need. This is ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Back on a best of edition of the LohDown, we had a great chance to catch up with J.D. Pickell, a rising star in college football media. He works with On3. Here's our conversation.
With us, J.D. Pickell of On3, one of the rising stars in this business, man. What's going on?
It's kind of you, dude. It's a very, very kind intro. Dude, this is awesome. It's funny because we get to media days, and there's some people that kind of roll their eyes and say, oh, we got media days just talking. It's like, About to spot the ball, baby. It's around the corner. You can feel it, and it's a pleasure to be on with you.
Tell me a little bit about you, man. I know, you played a little bit, and then you start this thing up. You're just kind of working your way through it. Like, you've kind of started to pop off a little bit the last couple of years. What's that grind been like?
Man, just putting your head down and trying to do right by the people that you work with and work for. And I've been very, very fortunate to be able to be in with On3 as they're continuing to do great things in this space and work for someone in Shannon Terry. But played my college football at Cornell and then graduated there and had an extra year to use. So I went to Baylor and had a walk-on spot there. And it's funny enough, the SID for Auburn is Taylor Bryan. He was the SID at Baylor when I was there. And at our media day for our team, standing in line waiting to get a headshot taken, and he just asked me, hey, what do you want to do when you finish playing football? And I was like, I'd love to get in the media. No idea what that looks like. Would love to do media. And so fast forward the tape a couple weeks later, I get another concussion, which at that point made too many, and retire from football. And I wake up to a text a few days later after retiring of, hey, got your name from Taylor Bryan. Do you want to come by and try and do a post-game show with us and try your hand at media and whatever? And so, again, at this point, had no real, on-air experience to speak of, but because of Auburn's SID, Taylor Bryan was able to get a foot in the door with an outlet in Waco and then be able to start building on the digital side. So, it's been a blast to be able to do this, man. It's been awesome.
It's good stuff, man. All right, let's talk about the week then. You've had your fair share of experience in these types of weeks, and going in, right, we said it, no one's, and I've said that before, nobody's going to play any games while we're here this week, but yet our opinions could be drastically different about teams, players, situations when we leave. Is there anything, being here on day 4, that has changed your opinion about something?
I think John Mateer being more comfortable is noticeable. Now, what does that mean, like you said? Who the heck knows? But it's funny, comparing how he operated in Atlanta a year ago, where he's the new kid on the block from Pullman, Washington, and he's this big unknown of, is he going to be the guy to bring Oklahoma back? And then to be here and to seem so relaxed and to understand what he's getting into in the spotlight the SEC is, he's a guy to where I don't think there's any real questions about him physically if he's healthy. I think it's all about everything from the neck up when it comes to comfortability and processing the defense and all those things. I'm a big John Mateer believer. And so I came away even more of a John Mateer believer. The other thing was Josh Heupel, man. Look, chill. Got the Turks and Caicos tan going. He was chilling. I'm like, maybe it's because he just landed a 5-star running back, and that's probably a good vibe. But also, I remember in Nashville, Nick Saban pulls up with the quarterback battle going on, and he seemed the same level of chill. Just filing that away. Wonder how good he feels about his quarterback room.
I want to ask you that as somebody who played the sport, right? When you talk about a quarterback in an offseason and they go, hey, all right, his intermediate passing game's got to get better, right? That 15 to 20-yard window, maybe he's got a nice deep ball, but that's got to get better. It's easier, and we always do this with basketball players. I mean, the guy's got to get his three-point shooting up. All right, well, he's going to be in the gym every day working on it. How does a quarterback go about that? And you think there is a situation where you go, hey, man, let's hammer 15-yard outs for 3 straight weeks in the offseason. What is that going to look like for somebody like Lenoris?
I think a lot of it's timing, too, in the intermediate game, right? And a lot of it will be repetition. I wonder for Lenoris Sellers how much of it was, hey, I know I have half a Mississippi and a half to get rid of the football here. And so when that shot clock internally is so sped up, you rush all the fundamentals. Your feet aren't right. You're maybe trying to get rid of the football too quickly and not following through on your motion. You're short-arming it. You're off your back foot. And so just all the little things that seem like minor details but make up big results. I think just having more confidence in the offensive line and having more consistency from that group over the course of an entire season should do a lot for him in that department. You'd like to hope.
J.D. Piquel is our guest. Savon 3 joins us here on the LohDown. Arch is here. Arch just got here, so, of course, all the buzz, all the frenzy around him. I mean, on one hand, last year was what it was. We know maybe there was some shoulder stuff. There was certainly some really nice moments there as well.
Yeah.
He's dissected in a way that's really probably not fair to him. At the same time, he's given the benefit of the doubt maybe the way that it's not fair to him. What do you make of what year 1 looked like and what year 2 for him as a starter could be if things go right?
I like what you said. He's so tough to talk about because everybody needs to be so extreme all the time in this space anyway. And then you say your last name is Manning, and it's like, is he going to win the Heisman Trophy or does he suck? And it's like, I don't know, dude. Can we see a couple more starts in his second year? I am at the point where everything that is possible with Arch Manning is real. The potential, and what I say is I'm at I'm 4 dates into this thing. 4 dates into a relationship. you may not be ready to propose, but you want to learn more. You think there's a future. You could see a path there, but you're like, it's 4 dates. Let me meet the parents and go home for the holidays a little bit before we get too serious about this. I feel that way about Arch Manning. I will say what impressed me the most about him last year that I think is real, the emotional resilience to have your home stadium boo you against, I think it was like UTEP or UTSA or someone like that. And to be able to mentally get off the ropes when everyone's talking about you being a bust. I think that's really impressive, and that's why I have confidence he'll build on the end of last year as opposed to recreate the beginning of last year.
Kiffin went this morning, and everybody in Baton Rouge is certainly excited to see what it's going to look like. We know what the offense is, and, I had a chance to talk to Trey Des Green earlier. He's a guy who's licking his chops about what it could look like to play tight end in that offense. So that stuff we know is going to work, but at the same time, I sit there and go, all these transfers getting brought in. They've got Clemson, Ole Miss, and A&M in the first month of the season. They've got to win right away. What do you make of the idea of them not only having to get this thing right, but having to get it right early?
I didn't know Hulk Hogan died until this morning. I mean, how about that being part of the opening presser?
He certainly went a long time in his opening presser there.
Yeah, I think that taking a knee there, he said, I'm going to go ahead and just limit the questions I get because it'll be an absolute firing squad. Obviously, I was aware that Hulk Hogan passed, but to have that in the opening presser was, I think, absolutely wild. I think what I've said about LSU, like, we're going to know in September, I think, if they're a playoff team or not, and not just by the number of losses or wins they could have, but you said it perfectly. Clemson at Ole Miss, and then you turn around after Ole Miss and you play A&M at your place. Like, whether or not you beat Ole Miss, you got to have the emotional mechanism to be able to say, okay, flush that. Good or bad, we got to go play a really good team in A&M that made the playoff last year and embarrassed us at our place. I think if they can get out of September with one loss and have some proof of concept for that locker room, I think they go a long way for the new individuals. Because I think the concern is, whether it's fair to say or not, the concern is you got a bunch of guys that have no real attachment to LSU, no real attachment to Lane Kiffin and his staff, and if things break a certain way and you got 2 losses coming out of September, it's like, okay, I'm just here for an NIL check. I'm not really tied to LSU, and it could become a little bit transactional. Now, I'm not predicting that. I don't know enough about the human beings on that roster to say that, with authority, but I think that's always possible in the NIL era where there's not a real tie to these schools like there maybe has been in recent years with the sport.
We'll close it with this. I want to ask you big picture. Obviously, you're somebody who loves college football because you've chosen to talk about it a lot, right? And be here at an event like this. And you played it as well, so there's an extra perspective in there. When you take a look at all these hypotheticals and, hey, the SEC could do their own thing, they'll combine with this team will be in it, this playoff format will expand. Like, what do you make of the state of the sport right now and where it could be 5-10 years from now, which obviously none of us know what it's going to look like?
Just speaking to the SEC breaking away, I want to hone in there for a second. We're in the trust tree right now, right? This is just you and me, ripping. I don't know that the pride of the SEC would allow them to say, hey, we won the national championship, but we didn't play Ohio State, didn't play Miami, didn't play Oregon. Like, I know this thing runs off money. I know there's frustrations with the SEC and they're being held back by other conferences. But when we really get down to brass tacks, doesn't that statement of the SEC will crown their own national champion without playing those teams, doesn't that just sound a little bit unfathomable? That's like one of the biggest backstops, rather, to that whole conversation.
We've never walked away from, even there's been some great all-time SEC championships in Atlanta. We've never walked away from that game and went, well, we don't really have to do the rest of this thing. We're like, oh, man, I can't wait to see what that team looks like in the championship.
Yeah, it's like, oh, they could win a national championship. Or maybe the national championship will be easier than playing 2000 whatever Florida, 2000 whatever Alabama. But, like, the national championship still, like, really freaking matters. I mean, LSU, Bama, it was, I want to say, like
2011, yeah, when they played the 9-6 game and then the rematch.
And it's like Alabama fans feel like they got the last laugh because they won the national championship, even though they lost that game round 1. I believe it was in Death Valley, if I'm not mistaken. But
in Alabama, actually, no?
In Tuscaloosa. Okay, I am mistaken. There we go. Appreciate
it. The funny thing you said that, highlights of that game came up on my feed last night, and that's the reason I was refreshed on saying it was Tuscaloosa.
Dude,
crazy you brought that up.
That's huge. That's a big-time save by you on where it was played. But, no, I mean, to say you're a national champion still means a lot to this conference. I really believe that. And so I'd be shocked if they broke away for a number of reasons, but that being one of the leading ones.
I'm with you on that, JD. Can't thank you enough for doing this, man. Let's catch up again during the season.
My pleasure, man. Thanks for having me on. You do a
See you
great
soon.
job, and it's awesome to talk ball with you, man.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
With storm season having arrived, ESPN 103.7 Lafayette, 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana sports station, and Mid-South Power Solutions in Crowley bring you these hurricane safety tips. Make sure to secure your home and bring in outdoor items before the storm makes landfall. Have an emergency kit stocked with water, food, and medications. Know your evacuation routes and listen to local authorities. Remember, safety is in your hands. Have a battery-powered radio with fresh batteries. These hurricane preparedness tips are powered by Mid-South Power Solutions in Crowley. Your local Generac dealer. Visit midsouthpowersolutions.com.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Houston Astros return to play tonight at home for the Lone Star Series with the Texas Rangers. The Rangers currently lead the Astros in the AL West by 1 game heading into tonight's matchup. On the mound, it'll be Nathan Eovaldi for Texas taking on Hunter Brown for Houston. First pitch is at 7:15 tonight, and you can listen to it right here on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Around the AL West tonight, the Milwaukee Brewers will visit the Los Angeles Angels at 8:30. The Detroit Tigers will be in Sacramento to face the A's at 8:40. And in the nightcap, the Seattle Mariners will host the Minnesota Twins at 9:10 tonight. The New Orleans Saints and wide receiver Chris Olave have come to terms on a contract extension for the veteran wide receiver. The extension is for 4 years and worth $132 million with $90 million guaranteed to Olave. This new deal is the largest contract ever given to a receiver in Saints history, beating out Michael Thomas's contract in 2019 by $32 million, and it makes Olave the 6th highest paid receiver in the NFL. In the Rocket Classic, Peter Malnati finished atop the leaderboards yesterday at 9 under, followed by Ricky Fowler and Ryan Gerard tied for second at 7 under. The top 3 will all tee off today after 11 a.m. this morning for day 2 of the Rocket Classic. The San Francisco 49ers are reuniting with former franchise star wide receiver Deebo Samuel on a 1-year, $7 million deal to bring the former second-rounder back to the Bay Area. I'm Blake Purser, and you're listening to ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. Drew Brees set a new standard for quarterback play, and now the Saints legend will be immortalized in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. RP3, D-Loh, and Mesh will be there for this historic occasion with a special 3-hour live broadcast from Canton, Ohio. Tune in Friday, August 7th for the Gold Standard. Presented by Beal & Hebert, Acadiana's hometown lawyers. Right here on ESPN, 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
This is your Chiropractic Expert Minute, brought to you by Dr. Quentin Briscoe, chiropractic physician.
Hello, I'm Dr. Quentin Briscoe. Veterans, are you struggling with chronic back pain, neck issues, or reduced mobility? You're not alone, and you have options. Chiropractic care is part of your VA health benefits, and at Briscoe Chiropractic, we specialize in non-surgical, drug-free solutions to help manage your pain and improve your well-being. We are proud to work with the VA Community Care Network. Let us help you regain your mobility and enjoy the active life you deserve. In addition to the VA Community Care Network, we are also in network with Blue Cross, Blue Shield, and Aetna. We accept motor vehicle accidents and workman's comp cases.
To schedule an appointment with Briscoe Chiropractic, visit drqmb.com or call 337-534-0091. That's drqmb.com or 337-534-0091. Because your spine deserves expert care.
Every weeknight, MeTV has your laugh therapy.
To chase away the blues or the olive drabs.
With 2 hours of MASH at 5.
This guy's ankle has tickled my funny bone.
Followed by the Andy Griffith Show at 7.
Doggone it, Otis. You're supposed to be hugging me when I'm arresting you.
But he likes you, Bart.
Weeknights on MeTV.
Watch Meet TV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen. so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices.
To learn more, visit govote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
The United States Deputy Sheriff's Association is a national nonprofit and the largest non-governmental provider of services to law enforcement. The USDSA assists city, county, state, and federal agencies with free safety equipment donations and officer survival training, along with cash donations to families of law enforcement officers who perished in the line of duty, a citizen awareness program, and more. For more information on United States Deputy Sheriff's Association, please visit usdeputy.org.
You're listening to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles. Your home for the best local sports talk in Southwest Louisiana.
Last up here, we're going to have two separate interviews combined into this one segment. First off, we had a chance to talk with Ryan McGee. Of course, you may know him from Marty and McGee. Great college football mind and a great hang. Here's our conversation with Mr. McGee.
We welcome you back into the LohDown. SEC Media Day coverage continues. We have with us Ryan McGee of ESPN. Ryan, thank you for being here, first off.
Yeah, man, of course. No, it's fun today because we're talking ball.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like everything I've talked about all spring and winter is like spreadsheets and budgets, and everybody's talking football today. It's nice.
That is a good thing. You and your partner Marty Smith, who's right down the way from us.
Literally just spilled his coffee. He was
Isn't that
next
incredible?
door. Yeah, Jacksonville, Florida's right next door. He literally just stood up and spilled his coffee. Just so y'all know, that's my life every day. I have two marriages. I have one in Charlotte with my wife, and then I have one on the road with Marty.
And you guys, what is it? 8 years now? I mean, it's been a pretty impressive run. What's it been like, man, to watch that show grow?
It's crazy, and so it's funny. So we've done 8 years. We've done this talking season special media days. We've been doing Marty and McGee now for I think 15 years.
Yeah.
We started as a podcast that no one listened to, and then we moved over to ESPN Radio like in the middle of the day on Saturday, and then we moved to the Saturday morning slot. And yeah, what's fun is, and you know this. You can't, and I was a producer for years, you can't just create chemistry. It's either there or it isn't. And he and I were friends before we did the show. It's why we pitched the show. And so, yeah, we literally, though, every Saturday the show ends, and I say to him, you think we'll get to do it again next week? He goes, we'll see. And so, yeah, it's just fun. We can't believe we get to do it.
And it's great content, and it's enjoyable for sure. This event, too, I mean, throughout much of that, you've seen this event grow. What do you make of what SEC Media Days has turned into versus what it was?
I mean, no offense to anybody listening in Hoover. I don't miss Hoover, like being at the mall. It was great. I mean, they had a great run. But it's fun because, first of all, for us, it's kind of like a family reunion.
Yeah.
And we're not all in the same place ever. And so it's just great to see everybody. And, like, a lot of you that I get to talk to during the season on the phone or Zoom or whatever, it's fun to get to see everybody in person. And we all kind of, all right, we'll see you later. And you might see people in the press box during the year. You might not. But it's – to see it go from, I remember my first conscious memories of media days, and I wasn't there, but I'm a Tennessee alum. And when the word got out that Philip Fulmer, had kind of ratted out Alabama on some stuff, and famously, and this is the way Coach Fulmer operates, he didn't show up. And all the tape recorders piled around like the loudspeaker, where he called in. And I think that was kind of when it became like all right, this is what this is. And so, yeah, I love it. I mean, I think it's fun just talking ball, and I think it's fun seeing everybody. And, the coaches have the good gigs because they get to be here for one day. My only issue is I love y'all, but a week is too long, right?
4 days.
Oh, dude, I was at ACC last week. I live in Charlotte. It's like 2 days. And Big 12 was like a day. Pac-12, we used to have the deal. The old Pac-12 had 1 day. It was in Hollywood. We're at this fancy hotel.
Yeah.
You talked to everybody, and then you went home. And it's good to see y'all. But yeah, I'm down here for like 6 days, and that's too much.
That is too much. I'm with you there. All right, you said talking ball. Let's do it then.
Yeah.
What do you make of? I mean, I go back a couple years ago, and I've asked this question a few times this week. The thing was, who has a quarterback they trust? And the answer was like, not very many teams at all. Now everybody's got one.
Everybody's got one.
If you don't have one, you're probably in trouble, which, we'll see about the Tennessees and the Alabamas of the world.
Right.
But everybody's got a quarterback now.
Well, even Tennessee and Alabama, they have quarterbacks.
Yeah.
They just don't know if they're ready.
Right.
And so that's I wrote an essay for SEC Network this week that's been running a bunch, and it was kind of said this is kind of year of the quarterback, because I mean, even at Auburn, you've got a new quarterback, but he's not new to the staff.
Oh.
And so to me, that's what it's about. And what's interesting is even like at Tennessee and Alabama, where you got these really young guys, they're so much smarter than they used to be. And it pains me to say that, but because I got a daughter in college, I'm like, yeah, y'all are probably smarter than we were, but they're so much better prepared, and they're ready for it. And so you go from the Arch Mannings and Lenore Sellers of the world that have so many snaps and have had a lot of hype and have been in so many big games. You go from that all the way down to these freshmen that these programs are going to have to lean on, but I just think they're better prepared than they've ever been before. So yeah, no, I was telling somebody earlier, I can't remember a year when top to bottom everybody in the conference, like you say, had a quarterback that they were like, all right, we believe in this guy.
Yeah, maybe, and a lot of it is the portal stuff because, like you're saying, Bynum Brown and Sam Levitt even, but those guys have high-level experience in this sport, and so it is interesting to me. What Arch and Lenoris, I mean, those you mentioned those names off the top. The pressure for Arch was always high.
Yep.
Last year, whatever you want to explain it away, was he banged up? This and that. It's going to be fascinating to me to see how he handles it. They went out and got him some weapons, so like they're kind of pushing everything in, and this is supposed to be Texas's year. But at the same time, I mean, it's got to be so difficult for him to live up to what everybody else is making him up to be.
I'm very excited that he's coming here. You know, they have done a really good job of keeping him away from all of us, and I don't know that it's done him any favors. But you know, and again, I know the Mannings a little bit. I know his uncles. I know his dad a little. I know his granddad very well. I don't know. I don't think the outside pressure is it. I think that we make a big deal out of that because of who we are and who he is and all that stuff. But I don't think that Arch Manning, who grew up in this in his entire life, I don't think he's lying in bed at night going, "Oh no, the city of Austin is depending on it." I think he wants to succeed because of the guys in the locker room, and he wants to succeed because he wants to play football for a living, and he wants to win a national title at Texas. So I think the pressure is coming from internal. I don't think the external stuff. I don't think that bothers him. Again, I think that goes back to them wrapping him in bubble wrap and keeping us away from him media-wise all these years. When he did have to speak, when they would make the playoff, and he's not the starting quarterback, and there's 10 times more people talking to him, he handled it great. So I don't worry about him externally, but I certainly think he puts a lot of pressure on himself.
This is a year in which a team like Georgia, who's going today, you know, they've got Gunnar Stockton back. I've had some questions about the offense. Like, are they going to have enough innovative, you know, are there going to be some innovative things that they do? Because it is great to run the football and just be physically dominant, but we've also talked about this whole portal thing, kind of balancing that out a little bit. They don't have 4 guys deep on the defensive line that they think are going to be first-round picks. I'm a little worried about Georgia this year. I don't know if that's the right place to be, but I am there.
No, I think that it feels a little bit like Clemson, let's say 7 years ago, and we're sitting right by the stadium where Clemson beat Alabama. I stayed at this hotel, and but it feels like, you know, who are you going to be going forward? Because you got your 2 national titles, you're still making the playoff every year. You know, you're winning the conference, you're doing all those things, but that's not the benchmark anymore. The benchmark is winning. Right now, it's not even just winning a national championship; it's getting a national championship game. And so, it feels a lot to me like where Nick Saban was, kind of in the middle, where Bear Bryant was, kind of in the middle. You won the first group of national championships, but then you had to evolve. That's how Lane Kiffin ended up at Alabama's offensive coordinator. That's when Bear Bryant started running the wishbone. Is all right? You have to change, and if you don't, Clemson, then you can be pretty good but not great anymore. And so I'm with you. I think they've got to be more creative offensively because yes, that worked, and yes, it's gotten you. It's still every year getting you to a certain point. But what is going to get you to the next level? And I don't have an answer to that because I'm not a football coach, but it reminds me a lot of the crossroads that you've seen a lot of legendary coaches get to, and the ones that make a change keep winning, and the ones that don't, you know, they still have their national championship rings that are very old.
Ryan McGee is our guest. ESPN joins us here on the show. The rest of this conference, like all that group of teams where you kind of shrug and go, yeah, I mean, maybe, like South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Tennessee. Is there one of those that's your favorite? I mean, is there somebody you think that's going to jump into this thing and make it a point?
I don't think that South Carolina is good enough to win the SEC, but I think that Kendall Briles, as an offensive coordinator, paired with Lenora Sellers, I think they have the chance to ruin the year for a lot of teams. If we get the Lenora Sellers that we saw at the Clemson game 2 years ago, that's an unstoppable machine.
Oh, yeah.
But Lenore's has to buy into that, too. He is he's a very quiet guy. He's not a rah-rah leader guy. The coaching staff has told me they need him to do more of that. And I love Mike Shula. He's one of the nicest guys in the world. But creative on offense, he is not. He's very his dad, pro style, whatever. And so the thought of a Lenora Sellers being cut loose, truly, and not worrying about if he's going to get hurt, just let him play, then I think I don't think South Carolina can win. They can't win the SEC, but, man, they could make the same. And I feel that way about LSU, too. I don't think LSU can win the SEC, but you take all those pieces and my best friend Lane Kiffin, and then you can, I don't think they're good enough to win the conference yet, but I think they're certainly good enough to ruin the year for a lot of other people.
Well, Ryan, you made the show for us, not ruin the show. So thank you for being here.
And, I didn't spill my coffee like Marty.
I know.
So, yeah, there you go.
Clean and everything's good to go. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was Ryan McGee. Now we round things out with a player that has high expectations in the purple and gold next year. Our conversation with LSU transfer linebacker T.J. Daugherty.
Welcome back into the lowdown. We have with us now LSU linebacker T.J. Daugherty. First off, T.J., what's this whole experience been like, man? I know you were here last year. What's it been like?
It's been awesome, man. I'm grateful for the opportunity. Really blessed, be able to represent LSU, man. It's been awesome.
You've got a group of your teammates that came from Ole Miss. So what has that dynamic been like? I imagine there's, you guys coming in, kind of experiencing it the same way, taking in, going to a new place, obviously same coach. What's that been like so far?
Man, yes, sir. Like you said, all of us, even Coach Kiffin included, being able to just embrace the change, man. It's been awesome, and I feel like some of even my teammates that came with me, we've gotten even closer than we were at Ole Miss since then.
What was it like last year, man? All the wins, all the big moments, down the stretch with all the controversy and stuff, trying to stay focused. I mean, how did you keep yourself, in that moment the whole way through?
Man, my brothers, man, the relationship that I built with some of the guys at Ole Miss, man, are going to last a lifetime. And just doing it for them, man, putting whatever I wanted to do aside or whatever the coaches had going on and just putting it all on the line for them.
Whose idea was it to go with the Mardi Gras themed suits here? You and your teammates, you got the purple, green, and gold. Was that an accident?
No, we all sat down and picked our suits out together. And, of course, purple was the first on the mind. And then gold came about, and then the green, man. When Whit decided to bring the green and we looked at them together, I was like, man, this is it. And we saw the Mardi Gras scheme, and it was perfect.
It is a sharp look. Well, look, I have to ask you. You're going back to Oxford, and we know that place is going to be bumping. I mean, it's going to be crazy. Have you thought about yet what it's going to feel like for you guys to walk into that building, the ones who came from Ole Miss, and how different that's going to be for you?
To me, not in depth. I mean, as far as talking about it, we talk about it a lot. Everybody talks about it. But, man, just from my view, man, it's another opportunity to play football, man. I'm going to be excited regardless.
What has it been like so far in Baton Rouge, getting yourself acclimated, getting spring practice, now into the summer, and getting ready for the fall?
Been awesome, man. Like I said, man, a great group of guys on the team, man. So they've made it so much easier for me and anybody else transitioning to LSU, or even the returning players who don't know Coach Kiffin and maybe their position coach now that maybe came from Ole Miss. So, I feel like everybody has something new in their life on the team, and we've all just embraced that and came together behind it.
We were talking with Whit earlier. He can't stop talking about how excited he is to play alongside you. I mean, it's really, there's an argument to be made. It's the best linebacking duo in the country, and I know you guys are set out to prove that this year. What is it going to be like playing alongside somebody like Whit?
Amazing, fun, man. A lot of energy, a lot of hitting, a lot of running, man. Just a lot of energy, man. You can tell we both just love football, man. And talking about doing it for LSU, man, we'd rather do it for nobody else. We're excited.
Yeah, your play style, man. Just talk to me about kind of how your game has grown and developed, and what and what's going to be potentially your final season here. Like what have you been working on? Where are you still growing?
Man, talking about from a formation recognition standpoint of being able to see the tails and the personnel when their personnel's come out, being able to, have a sense of what they like to do out of each personnel group, just to be quicker on my feet and even help my teammates out. If I see something, being able to tell them the play's coming, and we all just being quicker, like to where we all almost know the play's coming before it happens.
Talk about Sam Levitt a little bit. Everybody's excited to see him. He's been working his way back. He says he's full go. I guess you've probably gotten a little chance to compete against him in practice, things of that nature. What kind of dynamic does Sam bring to y'all?
A competitive, dominant type of angle, man. He doesn't like losing at anything. Whether we're competing in sprints and conditioning, man, he doesn't like to lose. And when he does, you can tell it just bothers him so bad. And I love that about him, man. Like, it's a saying like, hating to lose more than loving to win. I think that's genuinely Sam, man. And just his work ethic and how focused he is and how he carries himself in the building, from recovery, film, like having people help him. Like, just he always wants to get better, man. And Sam's going to be a great leader.
We talked about Lane, being the constant for you all, but Blake Baker's maybe new for you guys on the defensive side. What's it been like to work with him a little bit and maybe see how he sees things on the defensive side?
It's been awesome. I feel like I've gotten so much better talking with him because he's played linebacker, and, him just giving me some of his insights from some of the things he might have done when he played linebacker to stay ahead of the play. Like I said, from especially the formation recognition standpoint of things I'm trying to get better at, I feel like he's helped me in all those areas. And his energy when he's wearing those cleats outside at practice is awesome, man. He jumps on you when you make a play, man, and it's just awesome, man. I love the energy he brings.
One of the things, and another one that Whit talked about, Whit's excited about this schedule. He wants to play all the best teams. I think Whit would take the number one team on the schedule every single week. But it's also the first month. You guys got Clemson, then you got Ole Miss, you got Texas A&M, and not to mention Louisiana Tech. How are you guys going about the idea that you've kind of got to be ready to roll right off the bat?
Yes, man. I'm excited. I'm embracing it, man. We're talking about that's what this grind for that we're doing now in the summer, man. Like, getting ready for those moments, man. Like you said, week one off the gate, and just excited and being able to dominate each and every week regardless of who the opponent is. That's our goal. So that's what we're working to.
All right, TJ, best of luck. Thanks for doing this.
Appreciate you.
That'll do it for a best of edition of the show. We will have a poll question update to close it out. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back with a normal show on Monday.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Want to take ESPN Southwest Louisiana Sports Station with you wherever you go? Download the free ESPN Southwest Louisiana mobile app powered by Moss Motors today. It's your one-stop shop for all things ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Download it for free by searching ESPN 103.7 Lafayette. That way, no matter where you are, you can listen to Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Missed out on the Jordy Holtberg show? Here's what the Blonde Bomber said that got people talking.
Better and a little bit better. Now, all of a sudden, you get the Wisconsin transfer in Dylan Jones, who's taken everybody by surprise. And I think if they played today, Dylan Jones would be the starter.
The Jordy Holtberg Show, weekday mornings from 7 to 9 on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is the proud winner of 4 2026 LAB Prestige Awards, including Best Use of Digital Media, Foot's Friday Fury, Best Live On-Site Remote for our Super Bowl Radio Road coverage, Best Promotion for our No Shave November initiative, and Radio Young Professional of the Year for Dawson Iserloh. We're proud of being Southwest Louisiana's sports station and are humbled to be recognized by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters.
Acadiana area businesses. Is it time to make an impact? Time for more traffic, more engagement, time for more customers? Then it's time to make a splash with Bass. Bass is now offering digital marketing, indoor and outdoor digital signage, billboards, and video production to help you reach more customers and close more business. For over 30 years, Bass has helped our customers tell their story. Bass Companies. Remember, a business without a sign is a sign of no business. Advertise with Bass. Find us around Acadiana or at bassltd.com.
Need peace of mind with your estate planning? Turn to Beal & Hebert, your trusted hometown lawyers. At Beal & Hebert, we make estate planning simple and stress-free, ensuring your legacy is secure and your future is in the right hands. Don't wait. Schedule your consultation today at BealHebert.com. That's BillAbear.com. Safeguarding your tomorrow today.
MeTV is America's #1 classic entertainment television network. And here's one of the reasons everybody loves MeTV.
Oh, it's a classic.
The great comedy lineup on weeknights.
This will be fun. Come on.
With MASH.
Loaded with snappy comebacks.
The Andy Griffith Show.
I was just funning with Barney.
And Everybody Loves Raymond.
Now we got a show.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices.
To learn more, visit GoVote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
I've been driving trucks for a long time. Safety is my #1 priority. I know that my truck has huge blind spots. That's why I remember to check my mirrors often for smaller vehicles. Everyone can help keep our roads safe. Next time you're behind the wheel, try to avoid lingering in those blind spots. It can be dangerous. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Learn how at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
The biggest headlines in the world of sports are discussed here. ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Oh, another day in the books as we are wrapping things up here on this special Best of SEC and SBC Media Days edition of the LohDown with D-Loh, which I have found out it is D- or whatever the dash thing is, low. I've made that mistake a few times, and Mr. Dawson Islow, who is very particular, he cares a great deal about that. I don't, but, it is what it is. So, as we wrap up the show today, I want to thank everybody for listening. I'd say thank you to all the guests that came on, but because it's a best of, we've already thanked them prior to this. So, again, thank you for coming on again, even though you know what it is. Anyway, we're going to get you an update on the poll question of the day, the foodie poll question of the week, which is the better sandwich, grilled cheese or peanut butter and jelly? And I am sad to say that, peanut butter and jelly is just taking a beating by grilled cheese. It's 71-29 in favor of grilled cheese. It's been like that, and, that ratio all day long. Man, it's sad to see. I think peanut butter and jelly is a cornerstone of every, of a childhood. And it's just such a fantastic, versatile sandwich. Like Foot said, you could do it for dessert, which that's Foot. That's a little crazy, but I see what he's saying. You can eat it for lunch. You can get an Uncrustable, bring it to work, eat it for a snack. Like it's all across the board. A grilled cheese, it's cheese and bread, which is fantastic. But I think a lot of people, again, are putting ham, turkey, and other things on it. And when you do that, it's no longer a grilled cheese. There's a French word for it, actually. I remember learning that in French class. It's like un croquet monsieur or some crazy like that. It's one of the first things we learned in French class. So that distinguishes it. It's a different thing. It's not a grilled cheese sandwich. If I put something in the middle of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I can't still call it a peanut butter and jelly because it's no longer that. Look, it is what it is. I don't see peanut butter and jelly making a late push today, so I'm sad to say it, but grilled cheese is winning, and it's going to hold out and win. I mean, it's just crushing peanut butter and jelly. Man, that was a tough one. I was excited for that one. But that is going to do it all here for us on the LohDown. We will be back Monday with a regular show. We'll see you then.
You can get great tasting Clear Springs artesian water delivered to your office or your doorstep at home. Clear Springs is 100